Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and welcome to Tuesday. Man, it's been a crazy morning already. We had some economic data out, inflationary data out. We all know where it is. But don't worry. I'm sure somehow, some way, it'll still just be transitory. Somebody said to me that at the Atlanta Fed, apparently they no longer believe the transitory rhetoric. And they have been they created like a swear jar, but it's a transitory jar where anytime any of the other Federal Reserve members use that word, they put a few bucks into the old swear jar there. I got to imagine that jar is going to get awfully full, especially with the data that's come out today. But we'll get to that in a minute. I'm joined like I am every day with my partner in crime, Jason Walker. He runs the show up there in Colorado. Jason, bad news for me. I need to get gas today.
Oh, well, it'll be better than it'll be better than the gas you get in a month from now. A month from now, it'll be better. Yeah, I know. Next month it'll be worse. And I got a small,
my car, it only, depending on how empty it is, 13, 14 gallons is I think I've got 16 gallons, but my mechanic friends say, hey, you don't run it till the light goes on. that hurts the fuel pump. So I'm right at that point where the light's getting ready to come on, so I got to go fill up. And it's just it's. And here's the thing about it is tomorrow we're going to get oil inventory data, and I've got a really bad feeling about this report because this morning Joe Biden was out talking about potentially releasing more oil from the strategic oil reserve and kind of trying to put more pressures on the Saudis. The Saudis already told Joe Biden to jump in the lake last week, Jason. But I'm wondering, it just makes me think of, does he already know what the number is and is trying to get out in front of it? You know what I'm saying?
I think they do definitely know the numbers before, by the time you report it, Joe, those guys, they're trying to figure out how to deal with the number that they've been given. So, yeah, I think that's why people watch the president. I think they try to figure out how to react to what he's doing before whatever hits us. So, no, I
don't know how you can react to this guy. This guy, and I'm going to get to his comments about the oil reserve here in a minute. But, like last week, the news had broken that they were going to pay $450,000 for the children that were separated at the border. And then the president denied it.
Yep.
And then, of course, yesterday, I guess we are doing it. The guy doesn't even know what's going on.
I saw the evil look in his face when he yelled at that reporter.
Remember, he yells at her.
I mean, look at his face.
Know what, though? I think that's what happens when you catch this president in a lie. He gets real angry about it,
It looked like his eyes were turning red, and he was going to cast a spell on that reporter. I mean, it was pretty intense look in his face when that man questioned his storyline on the $450,000.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. And it's so funny is, first of all, we don't know if these kids are even really with parents, not parents. Who knows? And it wasn't. People don't realize. Like Ellis Island. When everyone immigrated here legally back in the day. That was standard operating procedure. They separated the kids from because predators and things of that nature, right? But. I just find it interesting that, once again, our government just wasting taxpayer dollars, Jason.
That's, I don't know, when's the last time they didn't waste our money?
Man, I don't know if I was ever allowed that. That's a great one. We should try to find out when's the last time they didn't waste our money. Speaking of wasting, on the Energy Secretary, Jennifer Granholm, in an interview with MSNBC, apparently I got to start watching that channel to find out stuff. An announcement could come this week to address the highest gasoline prices in years. Soaring fuel prices have put pressure on the Biden administration to act. They're saying that the president says that he has an arsenal of tools, Jason, to deal with OPEC to boost crude output. My first comment to the president is, we don't need to talk to OPEC to produce or increase oil output. Why don't we just talk to our own people right here in the U.S.? Why don't we do that, Jason?
That would be logical. That's what we're supposed to do.
Right? The president doesn't want to. Apparently, it's not okay to produce the oil here because, we got to be green. But it's okay to have the Saudis do it instead.
There's an agenda, Joe, that's for sure. It's causing the shortages that we're witnessing.
The president said that he is looking at options to address the rise in gasoline prices. And again, I only bring this up because now I'm worried that they know something about tomorrow's report that's going to cause oil and gasoline prices to rise again. That's just, that's usually how it works. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Patriot Radio News Hour. It's okay to build it or do it somewhere else. Just let's not do it here in America. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. And I got to tell you, Jason, but someone needs to give the president another nap. Completely out to lunch here. Yes, I've got tools, and we're going to talk to the Saudis. Here's some more from the president about this, and then we're going to move on. There are other tools in the arsenal. It's an arsenal, Jason.
Oh boy!
Yes, it's got so many tools.
Who's he fighting?
I got an idea.
Who's he fighting,
How
Joe?
about we get some drill rigs going, right?
Who's he fighting, Joe? There's a war, huh?
Yes. It's an arsenal of tools. Yes, that we have to deal. And I'm dealing with other countries. Again, will somebody please let the president know? Hey, guess what? We've got crude oil right here. We can just drill it ourselves. And at the appropriate time, he's going to talk about it, Jason. Yeah. Well, that's probably one of his tools, right? Yeah. That we can get more energy in the pipeline, figuratively. Hate to tell the president, but figuratively more oil, not going to work, right? We probably need literally speaking, right? Which he apparently corrected himself because he said figuratively, and then he meant, well, literally. Well, I hope so. But again, the biggest thing that I don't understand, we've got the oil here, but it turns out that U.S. shale does not have the support from the government, Jason, and we are not expected to see a big boost in production from our shale drillers.
Yeah, that's it probably will get worse before it gets better. I mean, I've seen as far as the empty shelves in the grocery stores, Joe, which shortage of oil, of energy makes the shortages of food worse. But I see some statement from the government saying that, well, and we have a 3-month plan to make those shortages on the shelf, the grocery stores better. I guess the video I was watching, like, well, gee, food is one of those things you need now. You don't need it 3 months from now.
Right. I got a picture, a text from the Rev over the weekend. He was out at the grocery store. I'm going to have to try to, maybe we could have a contest of who can find the highest price of meat. But he sent a picture, and it was at a meat counter. At one of the, and I'm assuming a Kroger or something along those lines. And the cost on the item was $48 or $49.47 for this piece of meat that was about $14.99 a pound, and someone had put a Joe Biden sticker on it with him pointing his finger saying, "I did that." And I just thought that was it was at a King Super, actually. So yeah, so at a
You know what's scary? What's scary, Joe, is that fast food prices are going up, but they're not going up nearly as fast. So it shows you really what's in that fast food that the prices are not quite skyrocketing like the meat is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's got that much meat in it. Speaking of skyrocketing, staying on topic here, used vehicle prices.
Yeah, massive.
Wow. Ramsey Auto Group, one of our new sponsors out here. If you guys are looking for a used car up there in Colorado, that's the place to go, believe me. According to Manheim, this was up 9.2% in October. How can it go up another 10% in a month? They're calling it the biggest month-to-month spike, going all the way back to when they started tracking this in 1997. Because September's jumped 5.3%. So you got to remember, Jay Powell patted himself on the back with this transitory nonsense, and he brought up how in August used car prices fell for 1 month. And said, "See, I told you." Well, since then, Chairman Powell, used car prices have jumped 14.3% in the last 60 days. Manheim, the largest auctioneer of U.S. cars. So this is at the wholesale level, right? So this is, dealers going to these car auctions and making their way to the consumer. They're saying used car prices up 40%, well, 38%. I don't want to exaggerate. It's only up 38% year over year compared to October 2019. So this is the pre-COVID level. I guess this would be a great transitory test, right? Prices are up 60%.
I saw this thing.
Cars.
I saw this thing, Joe. This auction, and this Honda was supposed to sell. It's a 2-year-old Honda. It was supposed to go on the auction for $21,000, and very quickly, ravenous auctioning went on, and it was $27,500. Almost instantly, the bidding went up to $27,500 on a used 2-year-old Honda. That's what's happening at these car auctions.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Brittany, right here in the office, she's got a new car that was the 20,000 mile. Bring it to the dealer for a free checkup. The dealer offered her $4,000 more than what she paid for it.
Yep, that's happening, Joe. That is absolutely happening.
Or offered her got 20,000 miles. I'll give you 4,000 more than you paid for it. But yeah, Brittany wasn't buying it. She's like, yeah, then what am I going to do?
And Joe, it's the chips.
Right?
It's really these computer chips. I was seeing this thing last night that in January of this year, a lot of the car manufacturers needing their chips for their cars were told 2 to 3 months. So they start putting in their orders accordingly for where they think sales will be, and they got into April to June, and they started saying, well, you have 6 months. It's going to be 6 months. So they said at the beginning of the year that this would get better, that they would catch up. Now in October, they're telling them, well, it's going to be sometime next year, and it may be the end of next year before you start getting the next chips getting to these cars. It's getting worse, Joe, and that's why your used cars are going up, because the new cars are just not being built.
You think maybe they tried to believe the president's nonsense, right? Well, the president said it's only going to last a little while, and it's going to be a whole lot. Listen, they're all out. Ford was out. General Motors is out. The chip problem is not. It's not going to be resolved in 2022. It's going to be. This is it. This is the new normal. Get ready for it to happen. By the way, not to depress anybody anymore, it's the first time ever that used car prices rose in the month of November. Or I'm sorry, it was an October number. First time ever that it rose in the month of October. And the thing that Manheim was saying was it didn't go up a little bit. We're talking almost a 10% increase. And Manheim said the only time prices have ever gone up in the month of October was on a seasonally adjusted basis. It's never actually happened in real terms, which is just going to blow the lid off of the inflation numbers. Today we got wholesale inflation. So this is producer prices up 8.6% year over year. This ties the record for the highest ever, Jason. Well, the highest ever since they've been keeping the data.
Why do I feel like it'll be a short-lived record as the months go on, Joe? You know?
The highest increase, according to the Labor Department, stripping out food and energy, the index was up 0.4%. September, when they did that, it was only up 0.1%. So again, getting worse. Year-over-year basis, core producer prices up 6.2%. That is a year-over-year record. Going back, this one apparently only going back to 2010 because that's when they decided, I guess, to start tracking that information. Well, I don't know. It says price rise for final demands of goods accounting for more than 60% of the increase in the products. In other words, dealers out there, producers out there are saying, hey, guess what? Everything's costing more. It's not just fuel. It's not just energy. It's not just labor, Jason.
All these things spell a lot of gloom and doom when it comes to food and food shortages, which, you know, people have talked in the past about, well, this and this could happen and we could have food shortages. This looks like the real deal, Joe. This looks like all of these factors affect food and food prices dramatically. And suddenly the food will just, you know, you don't have trucks to bring the food and you don't have cars being built and the parts to fix the cars and the trucks and the ships sitting in the ocean. These, you know, the inflation causing everything to be more and more expensive. You know, food shortages is something people are going to start talking about in the months to come. That's why the shelves are looking empty.
It's already happening, you know, and you kind of blow it off because it's different items every time. One time you go in and there's no chips. The next time you go in, the meat counter's wiped out. The next time you go in, the bread is gone. It's been one of those deals. And remember, Coca-Cola, Pepsi saying there's going to be sporadic shortages. This thing's going to get a whole lot worse, unfortunately, before it gets better. And this has been known. This is kind of the problem. The CEO of Kroger warned everybody like 60 days ago. The big price increases haven't even hit yet. Stock up on your Oreo cookies at the beginning of the year. Nabisco prices are going to go up 7% across the board. I just had a customer call in. Listen to this. He bought a 2020 Jeep Cherokee for $30,000. Okay. Didn't like it. Traded it in for a 2021 Dodge Durango. The sticker on the Durango was $56,000. He paid $57,000. They gave him $36,000 for the Jeep Cherokee he bought for $30,000 the year earlier.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Absolute insanity happening in the marketplace.
And Joe,
last but not least,
Joe, let me listen to this. Before coronavirus came, there was an estimation of 50 to 60,000 truck drivers needed for the industry. They were already short truck drivers, which is really when they talk about supply line problems, they're not on truck drivers. You probably make $200,000 being a truck driver very soon now, and the average large grocery store, your Walmarts and your Krogers and whatnot, they get an average of 8 deliveries a day, 8 trucks per day average, which means if you have a really big, real big store, you get 16 trucks, and maybe a smaller store, store only gets 3 trucks or 2 trucks a day. But the average is 8 trucks a day, Joe, and they're not getting
every Walmart.
For the large ones, yeah. I guess smaller stores a little lighter than that, but the average large store, you have your big King Supers, your small King Supers, but if they average 8 trucks a day and they're not getting 8 trucks a day, those shortages you're seeing is because they're not getting their 8 trucks a day, Joe.
And I'm going to tell you right now, and I'll remind you what AutoZone had to say. Parts are becoming a problem. Yesterday we talked about John Deere, how John Deere says, hey, we're going to outsource to our other plants outside of the U.S. Today the news broke that multiple John Deere dealerships report that there are parts delays for tractors and heavy equipment, and they said that farmers now are waiting weeks, could be months, before they get the parts needed to keep their combines and their tractors working. They say that the situation has only gotten worse, and saying that, again, if the farmers don't have parts for the tractors, Jason, we're not going to get the food, we're not going to get the produce, we're not going to get all the other things on the shelves.
Yeah, I didn't get the price, Joe, but I saw a John Deere tractor on one of the videos I was watching. Tractors are going up 2-fold and 3-fold, used tractors. Way worse than used cars and trucks.
Patriot Radio News Hour. Oh, man. Wow. It's a little too much truth today. Hey, it's only halftime.
You could enjoy having your mortgage paid for a year. That's right. It's the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest. To enter, go to FamilyValuesRadio1010.com and click on the banner. That's FamilyValuesRadio1010.com.
800-951-0592. I don't mean to laugh. It just doesn't end. Apparently, the new shortage now, to-go containers.
Yep, I saw that too.
Yeah. Apparently, there are almost no straws. Very, 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 very few iced coffee drink cups. No, not that! There's such a shortage for to-go containers that people are saying, I don't care what the price is, just send it to me. International Paper. Now, International Paper, they're huge. They actually don't make the to-go packaging anymore. They used to. They don't do it anymore. But they make the pulp that makes the packaging, right? So they said, just to give you an idea of how bad the problem is, in just late October, it said that it had absorbed an additional $50 million on supply chain cost to export its pulp out to these places to produce the whatever it may be, the packaging for the to-go stuff. So think about that. Just this one company, $50 million just in shipping cost alone, Jason.
Yeah, the shipping cost is a huge part of this problem. And I actually saw a CBS News clip. They're actually they started this CBS News program was actually reporting on the shortages. They finally got there, Joe. One of the big news stations finally actually reporting on some shortages. And the female news anchor, she's like, yeah, I went to get Lunchables for my kids, and I went to 3 stores and couldn't find their Lunchables. It's because the containers that hold the Lunchables are out.
Yep. My wife has been telling me the same stories. I went to 3 stores for this. I went to 2 stores for that. And it's the same thing everywhere. They're saying that the suppliers, Dunaway, big supplier of this stuff, said, listen, we've told everybody, you better stock up, because the next shipment you get, I can't tell you when your next one's going to come.
Yep, sounds like the chips, computer chips.
How do you do business that way?
You don't.
Well, how much should I buy? Do I buy a 3-month supply? Do I buy a 6-month supply? Can I even afford to buy that much supply?
These are markets getting ready to freeze up, Joe. That's what this is.
Rival food supplier Cisco refuses to comment on the challenging that it is facing. However, it said it would update investors when they release first quarter results Thursday. So I'll let you know. I'll be all over that for sure. Cisco is huge. They provide the majority of restaurants and bars and all that here in Arizona. They're like the big supplier of things. It's going to be a very, very interesting winter, Jason, all around. And I think you've got it right. Hey, it may not be the Lunchable that's the problem. It may be the box that the Lunchable goes in.
Prepackaged food has a lot of, prepackaged food needs a lot more attention than just raw foods.
Yeah, and it may not be the box that the Lunchable goes in. It may be the box that the Lunchables go in to be shipped, right? I mean, you're talking about 3 or 4 different layers of packaging before it actually gets onto the shelf at the supermarket. Any one of those breaks down, and you don't have it. It could be the plastic film that goes over the Lunchable.
That's where my mind was.
It could be the cardboard that the Lunchable goes in. It could be the master box that the Lunchable goes in. I mean,
the glue. It could be the glue that seals it shut.
It could be the glue.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into these prepackaged foods for you guys out there that eat out of a box. I mean, everyone loves to open a bag of chips, right? There's a lot more to that bag of chips than just the food in it.
And you know what? Here's the bad part. I got a bad feeling we're going to learn a whole lot more about packaged food than we ever wanted to know. Listen, I've already learned way more about fertilizer than I ever wanted to know, right? We're learning a whole lot more about how cargo gets unloaded at ports and whatnot than we've ever wanted to know. This whole thing, it's seemingly unrelenting. Like we've got this rolling wave that they promised us was going to be over. And not only is it not over, the wave has doubled in size. And that's really the biggest problem. The wave has doubled in size. This is when the wave was supposed to be over. And like Jason said, a lot of these manufacturers out there thought, it's just a little hiccup. And they didn't plan far enough ahead, and now all of a sudden the wave's doubled in size, and we got a tsunami getting ready to hit.
Right, and Joe, what'll end up happening is businesses can't do business, so they'll try to wait it out, and markets will just freeze up. This is what happens in a market crash. Markets will freeze up.
I told you, I got friends everywhere. I got a buddy of mine, another one of these business owners. Let me just read you the text he just sent me. There are no paper-wrapped straws in the valley. So those, individual paper-wrapped straws, none. There are no plastic cup lids. Everybody's going to styrofoam because they can't get the lids. Think about what he's saying right now. Every day I stock up on whoever has anything. This is what it's just happening out there. There's nothing on the shelves. If they're on the shelves, these guys are buying it, Jason. And again, this is real live stuff. And you talk about people, how do you manage your business? If you're a restaurant, if you're a bar, maybe you're in the catering business or the hospitality business, how do you manage your business?
Maybe McDonald's goes back to
Walmart's going to be just fine. Walmart's going to be just fine.
Oh, yeah.
Olive Garden, they're going to be just fine. What about the small business guy? What do they do? And this is all done by that moron Jay Powell sitting there telling us about transitory this and transitory that. I told you Janet Yellen was the evilest woman on the planet, and guess what? Small business is going to pay the price for all of this, Jason. I promise you before this is over. And again, it's almost impossible. Can you imagine? Here you are, you're bidding out a job and you got an event, and all of a sudden, I can't get straws. I can't get cups for people to drink from, right? I can't. How do you run a business?
Well, Boulder County will be happy. They outlawed straws some time ago, so I guess they'll be happy about that.
They're just bad. Wow. Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. Gold's up. We're right here. Right, we're stalking it here at 1829 right now on gold. We're looking at 1830, 1835. Here's the deal. Gold's going higher. Whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, I don't know. But believe me, when it breaks 1835, it's going to be real. I think it's going to be real quick towards 1900. So you're talking, it's going to be a big move. Don't wait. Get in now. And again, we're talking about 1900. I'm talking about all-time highs probably in the next 6 months here. This wave that I'm watching. Everything, and I've got friends everywhere. I know it's hard. I call them friends, They may not think I'm their friend, but I call them friends. That are all in these industries, and the prices that are coming down, it's beyond belief. You're talking about prepackaged stuff that the cost is up 60%. Something, a box of, say, prepackaged food containers, $20. It's now $50 if you can find it. That's the problem. It's a double problem. Not only has the price up 60%, but that's if you can find it, Jason. I mean, if you can't find it, doesn't matter what it costs.
Part of it's where do you live, and when supplies get lower and lower, who gets prioritized to get the stuff that's available? So there's that to have to think about. I mean, this is where living out in a rural area gets to be difficult because you get your stuff last.
People are saying, I'm just seeing some reports come through here. They expect the president before the end of this week to announce releasing from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which really has me wondering about tomorrow's number. If it's a bad number, gold's going to skyrocket come tomorrow. I don't know that it is, but I'm just kind of interesting how all of this is shaking out. Right now, listen, $20 gold pieces are at $21.25, and believe me, if gold breaks 1830, 1835, it's not stopping at 1840 or 1850. We're going to see a big run here. We're going to see gold prices rise significantly. Really, if you think about it, Jason, 2021. Gold was really on sale for the whole year.
I've been saying it. Good old days, right? Joe. This is the good old days to buy it.
The argument was, well, Jay Powell says it's transitory, so don't worry. Right? So gold, you don't need to rather. We're not going to have inflation, or it's just going to be temporary. Gold now is getting ready to react because guess what? Wall Street has it wrong. The Federal Reserve issued a bunch of warnings today, and I haven't seen this, which kind of tells me they know this tidal wave's getting a lot bigger here about the potential for a large sell-off in the stock market. And the only thing that I can think of, Jason, to cause that would be inflation really getting out of control. The Federal Reserve would have to be forced to act, i.e. by trying to raise interest rates or maybe speeding up the quantitative easing. But either way, it was just very interesting that they came out. They warned about Bitcoin. They warned about elevated stock prices as well, Jason.
Exactly. I mean, when you look at what's going on with the markets, and let's look at about 6 months ago, the markets were about 35,000. The Dow was 35,000. Now it's in like 36.2. That's not a very big price hike in that time frame, Joe. But the price of everything else has gone up tremendously. This is a market. We're in a market crash. Market crashes don't, it's not this like one day thing. A lot of people, the day that the stock market crashed in 29, but that was more than one day overall. If you look at it, this doesn't happen in one day. A lot of times it happens over a couple of years or 6 months or something. It's been happening. The markets are crashing now. Gold and silver has been a bargain all year, like you said, Joe. And in the midst of a market crash, we haven't had a burn up of inflation like this in decades. And so it's crashing now. The S&P, 7 Yeah, those companies are still doing okay, but it's the other 493 that really aren't doing good. They're all down. They're all suffering. The mid cap and the small cap companies, the small companies are just getting wiped out. So it's happening. And Joe, if the Dow goes down, if the S&P 500 starts going down, that's a massive market crash then. Because with inflation, in theory, you can keep those markets up in theory.
Yep, and Jason's right on the head here. 36.2 today. I mean, the Dow's down a couple hundred points today. S&P and NASDAQ are down as well. But, yeah, they're right near all-time highs. But to Jason's point, right, if you take away, like, the 7, right, what are we talking about? We're talking about Google. We're talking about Amazon. We're talking about Microsoft. We're talking about Walmart. We're talking about Netflix, right? I mean, you take those guys away. The rest of Wall Street not looking so sharp. And Jason made a really good point about those small cap stocks because those are companies, too, less able to handle the price shocks, right? They're not as equipped to handle these things that are happening in the marketplace. And if there's any loss of confidence here, we could see a very significant move to the downside. And again, though, got to remember, Wall Street, it's a debt market that's propped up by the central bank. And the problem is right now, the central bank is being proven the fool, Jason. Being proven the fool. Right,
and you could very well see before the Dow and the S&P really take a nosedive, you may see it go up a little bit. It's a melt-up, which happens right before the crash. Hey, let's get everybody else, get all the suckers in the game before we pull the rug out. And so don't bully the market.
Final segment coming up, Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be right back. 800-951-0592, $20 gold pieces. We got about 100 of them. So that's a nice number. Gold's now up 4. Is today the day? We'll see 1831. It's bouncing between 1831 and 1832 here. So it's moved up almost $4 in the last 5 minutes here. Again, we're targeting this level. This is the a major level here. If it breaks above, all the computer programs fire. I'm a rocket scientist. The computer programs are going to just sell out their shorts. They're going to go long. We're going to see significant price increases if it holds here today. U.S. $20 gold pieces, $2,125 at 800-951-0592. And really, if you've learned anything from listening to us here the last couple of months, you haven't seen the bad inflation yet. That's the problem. The wave that came was supposed to be gone. Instead, the wave is now twice as big. And right now, as of right now, Jason, still getting bigger.
That's correct, Joe. I mean, check this out. Brian and I bought into Patriot Trading in 2018, and I'll just take a kind of a good average. In 2019, June 12th, the Dow was 27,332. So to today's price, it's about 25%. The Dow's up, 25%, Joe. That's not bad, for 2 years. But we were selling gold pieces between $1,250 and $1,350. These $20 Liberties that we're selling today. So an average of $1,300 is what we were selling them for at that stage in 2019. Up about 60%. So you're about 21.25 today. So even though gold's kind of been hanging out in 2021, not doing a lot, wait till it explodes, and those numbers erase. 60% versus 25%. I'd rather be in the gold situation in the last 2 years, Joe. But what's going to happen, here soon is the Dow is just not. It's stagflation for that, and gold is the emergency asset, and you better start getting your hands on it, right, Joe?
Yeah, and it sure looks like stagflation. And I hate this. I don't want to see it, but that is absolutely what it looks like here. We've seen wages rise, and I'm telling you right now, it's not enough. It's not enough. I'm sorry. $15 not enough. 16, 17, 20, 25. It's not enough. They talk about shortages and supply chain problems, and you've got to understand things have broken down at every level because we went through essentially the shutting down of the whole world And what did the bankers do? They just gave everybody trillions. So everybody kept spending while the whole world was shut down. And now, all of a sudden, hey, we're out of stuff. We don't have the stuff. And equipment breaks down. Can't get the parts. Right? If I got the parts, so I'm back to work. Well, oh, wait a minute. I can't get the cardboard. Or I can't get the lid. Or I can't get the container. Or I can't find a ship to put it on. Or I can't find this.